Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are back from the 300th YCS, and my friend Julian placed 24th in the Proto Genesys YCS. We unfortunately had to play it in the main event, but in round one, no less. But he did also place fairly well. We both did top 32 the event, and I think there's another profile worth showing. So yeah, we're going to. He was nice enough to record it and send it to me for you guys. So again, I'm going to pass it off to him. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. And this is going to be a Monarch deck profile. So yeah, any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, and I will have him answer as best as he can when he gets a chance to. So again, if you enjoy, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Later.
Hi, I'm Julian. I got 24th at the Proto Genesys YZS thing. So that was cool. I played Monarch. Before I get into it, let me shout everyone out that I came with. Connor, Big Ev, Russ, Kevin, Chris, Gage, Mr. J, Senko, and honorary shouts to the ones who did not come. Rolando, Steve Adams, and Ruck. And of course, shoutouts to Eddie for getting 4th at the Genesis, and Steve for getting 4th or top 4 in the main event. That was fun. Also, shoutouts to Jared for flipping mistaken arrest on me round 1. Very cool. But let's get into it. 3 Ether, 3 Erebus. Nothing really to explain here. They're the OGs. Big guys. Set up your combos, quote unquote combos. 2 Eidos. This is probably the best card in the deck. It is your grind game. Helps you set everything up, search for a card you're missing, and is a spellcaster, which will come into play later. For the Squires, 3 Tessera, 2 Edia, and 1 Eidos. Again, nothing really to explain here. You probably could bump Eidos up, but he is one of the worst cards to draw. Because probably the argument to play more is for the graveyard effect, which does come up a lot, to either extend and or, play on the next turn. And the honorary Squire, Steel String Sacrifice. He's got Monarch stats, has 3 effects that you can each just use every turn, which is pretty cool. For Monarch's Revolt, I would usually reveal Steel Stringed, Tessera, and Eidos, because most of the time they would probably either give you Tessera, because they didn't want in the graveyard, obviously. Usually they wouldn't give you Eidos, because whatever. Or Steel String would go to the grave, and if you had a monster with Monarch stats and or a Monarch spell and trap, to summon Tessera, and then like a Monarch statted monster to... Well, it doesn't have to be Monarch statted monster, whatever. Anyway, you could use this grave effect, get Eidos to your hand, and then you'd have full combo that way. So it was just like a safe way to make sure Monarch's Revolt guaranteed you value to play. The Caius for Monarch's Master Plan. And I main decked Mega Thestalos for, hand rip. People opted to side it, but if you went first, you went first. This card probably should be pointed, and maybe mini Thestalos, because I know there's the version of the deck that is just a general is gonna go hand rip you for a bajillion. But hand ripping isn't fun, except unless you're the one doing it. Haha. Next, for some of where our points went, 1 Magician Souls and 1 Illusion of Chaos. Whoops. Shoutouts Jim. Jim pretty much built the deck for me. I copied his homework. Our decks varied by a few cards. Jim went for 2 Illusion of Chaos and 1 Eidos, but I went for 2 Eidos because I was horrified at DD Crow and or Dimensional Fissure, which I did not see any Dimensional Fissure, and I dodged Exo Sister. Don't know how I did that, but I was very talented to do so. Funny thing about Magician Souls, Eidos is a spellcaster. So you can reveal Magician Souls, send Eidos, and you have Eidos in your grave, and now you have a free body that'll let you draw. And deck thinning is deck winning. For the spells, 3 Pantheism, 3 Tenacity, 3 Revolt. This card probably should be pointed too. 3 Monarch Master Plan. This card is a pseudo interrupt. When you banish it with Prime on the opponent's turn, if they have a Dark, you could target their monster, summon Caius. Also a starter, because you go Master Play, instant Pantheism, Pantheism, reveal, revolt, and then you get to play. And 3 Stormforth, probably the main reason I wanted to play the deck, because Stormforth Erebus. I love 2016. The last Monarch spell I played was Strike. It was like another interrupt you could set up, or it was like weirdly sometimes a board breaker, where if you were playing and you were able to tribute and they were like holding like a trap card or something, or a monster effect, you could chain and then negate it and you would get a draw. But weirdly, the effect I used the most of this card was the Hidden Graveyard effect to banish it, and you declare an attribute and all your opponent's monsters become that attribute. So, turn 2 or 3 or whatever, banish Strike, call Dark, Prime banish Monarch Master Plan, get a free Caius. Caius rocks. Shoutout to Edison. 2 Pot of Greed. This is where like the last chunk of our points went, because if we were able to play, we won. We didn't play Domain or Monarch's Erupt because we didn't think the deck needed it. Weirdly, the only thing I missed about Domain wasn't the Floodgate effect. It was when your Monarch attacked, it would gain 800 attack to like beat over some monsters. But other than that, Pot of Greed is Pot of Greed. Points well spent. And traps. 2 Prime and 1 Monarchic Perfection. Monarchic Perfection is absurd if you set it up. Probably just wins you the game because you get all the original Monarch effects, which with the added bonus of they don't target. So that's cool. I don't know if people were playing 1 Prime or like wanted to play 1 Prime, but I played 2 because, again, scared of DD Crow. And weirdly enough, sometimes I like wanted a second copy, so that way I have 1 in my grave for, just to have 1 in my grave, and then flip the other one up and recycle all my spells. Which came up, I played against someone playing Outlich. Shouts to them, they were cool. We had like a 40-minute game 1, and the only reason I won and or stayed in the game was because of the on-field effect, so that was cool. 40 cards. No extra deck. The main reason, you could argue that I could have played an extra deck just to have one, but weirdly enough, there were some decks in this format that could punish you. I don't know if you would really necessarily get punished by Cool Tune, banishing a card from your extra deck. Besides, it would just waste time. Or, I thought Hecka Hands would, be somewhere. And you would get punished if you filled your extra deck with, cool-looking monsters, and they would just steal it from your extra deck and summon it on you. And I did not want that to happen. Which didn't happen anyway, but still something to consider. For the side deck. 3 Nibiru, this was the last of our pointed cards. Our point count ended up being, my point count ended up being 93. There wasn't any, I looked, but there wasn't anything, crazy I wanted to put in to, add more points. I probably, maybe, could have played, 2 Ogre instead of something, which I'll get to later. Or, a Veil, or not Veil, or, Mourner or something. 3 Dark Ruler. And until the day before deck lists were due, this was Shared Ride. But I was kind of scared of Archmage and or any other decks that put up a ignorant board that you could just Dark Ruler and play. And obviously Dark Ruler is Dark Ruler. 3 Cosmic, back row removal. The main reason I wanted to play this deck, because I thought this was the deck that could utilize this card the most, or the best, was Spellcard Soul Exchange. Outs Tower monsters. Doesn't count towards your tribute summon for turn, so you just get an extra tribute. You can't really get punished by because when you activate it on resolution, they get to Spellcard Soul Exchange you back, but the monster you summon can't be tributed. So if you summon Erebus or an Eidos or something, they can't tribute it, and you lose the body. weirdly, you can get punished if you tribute to their monsters and summon Ether, and then Ether summons something. They contribute whatever you summoned off Ether. But that never came up. I didn't see this card as much as I would have liked to. But still, crazy card. Next, we played 2 Landrobe. The idea was it was also like it was a board-breaking vassal because it would Book of Moon, one of their monsters. You would summon it, and you'd have a body. I never sided it in. I don't know why. I would just look at it and think about what I was playing against and go, I don't really need it. So maybe these could have been like ogres or mourners or something better. But whatever. And the last card was Celaglair, the Luminous Lunar Dragon. We did not play, obviously, Ryza or Zaborg or any of the other extra classic monarchs in the side deck to utilize Master Plan. One of the problems I had with the deck was Ether really wasn't much of an interruption, as it was just like filling the board or like kind of like setting up follow-up. But this card fixes it because it has Monarch stats, so you can summon it off Ether. And its effect is you can return it to your hand and take control of an opponent's monster with less attack than it. So at 2400 attack, you could realistically take a good chunk of things and interrupt them. And you would then have a Monarch stated monster in your hand for follow-up. And it was just another interruption. And I mean, I did not want to summon Karaz off Ether and give my opponent 2 cards. But maybe if you wanted to do that, you could. That's pretty much it. The event had a great time. Everyone I played was super awesome and nice. And the event ran smoothly. My only problem was just, floodgatey type cards that were not pointed heavily enough, such as Mistaken Rest. But other than that, I think the format is cool and fun, and I had a great time. So, thank you for watching. Shout out Big Game Home Video.